In the previous videos, we talked about big O notation and omega notation. Big O notation bounds a function from the upper side. Omega notation bounds a function from the lower side. Theta notation bounds a function from both, from upper side and lower side, which means it actually represents exact bound on a function, on the order of growth of a function. So it is used to represent exact order of growth. Let us take a look at this mathematical definition. We say that Fn is equal to theta of Gn if and only if there exist positive constants C1, C2 and N0 such that C1 Gn is smaller than or equal to Fn is smaller than or equal to C2 Gn. And please remember one thing, we are only talking about functions for which have values greater than or equal to 0, which are positive, and n also greater than or equal to 0, right? We only talk about positive values here, first quadrant of our 2D coordinate system. That's what we did in big O and omega also. Also, we talk about large values of n when n tends to infinite. What is the status when n is really large? What is the status of order of growth? So as per this definition, let us try to find out the order of growth of Fn. So we can directly find out order of growth using the same trick, the direct trick, by ignoring the lower order terms, ignoring the leading constant. We get the order of growth as n, right? Order of growth is n. And theta notation is used to represent exact order of growth. So we can write it as theta of n. Now let's see, does this follow the definition that we have written here? So if Fn is theta of n, then there must exist C1, C2 and N0 such that C1 Gn is smaller than or equal to Fn and smaller than or equal to C2 Gn for all n greater than N0. Now how do we find C1 and C2? We have already discussed about them in big O and omega. To find the C1, we simply take the constant 2 here, leading terms constant, and we can take any value which is smaller than 2, right? So one possible value is 1. So we take the C1 as 1. And C2, we can take any value which is greater than this leading order terms constant. We can take 3, 4, 5, 6, any value. So I'm taking C2 as 3. The only thing left to figure out now is N0. So we want to show this expression as true, and we need to find out a value of N0 after which this expression is true. Let's solve it one by one. For what value of N0 this expression is true? So we can say for all n greater than or equal to 0, this expression is true, right? This part is true. Right? For 0 it's 0, for 0 it's 3, for 1 it's 1, for 1 it's 5. Let's now talk about this part. For what values of n this part is true? We can solve it by putting it separately. We want to show 2n plus 3 smaller than or equal to 3n. We can take n on this side and we can say smaller than or equal to 3. So for n greater than or equal to 3, this part is also true. N greater than 3, this part. Now we just take the maximum of these two, right? Because we want to show for all values of n greater than N0. So our N0 here is 3. We've taken maximum of this value and this value. So for all values of n greater than 3, this part is true. So we have found C1, we have found C2, we have found N0. C1 is 1, C2 is 3, and N0 is 3. So we can say Fn is equal to theta n. In general, we do not need to do all that mathematics. We can use our direct formula for order of growth, which is ignore lower order terms, ignore the leading constant, take the highest order term and put it in theta. Theta is exact bound. So you can put only that thing in theta and you can say that's what theta notation is. Let us now talk about some interesting facts of theta notation. Please remember, theta notation bounds a function from both the sides. So if fn is equal to theta of gn, what it means is fn and gn both have same order of growth, because gn can bound fn from the above side also, from the lower side also. What it means is fn is also equal to big O of gn, fn is also equal to big omega of gn, because big O also means greater than or equal to, right? So equal to is covered. So when you are sure that they are equal order of growth, you can write big O, you can write big omega, and you can write reverse way also. You can say gn is equal to big O of fn and gn is equal to big omega of fn, right? Because they both have same order of growth, and when two functions have same order of growth, you can use all notations and exchange these notations across the functions as well. Second point, theta notation is useful when you know the exact bound. Ideally, we should be using theta wherever we can use. We should use other loose notations like big O and omega notation when we don't know the exact bound. Theta notation, it's good to use everywhere, right? For example, time complexities to find sum, max and min in an array can be represented as theta n. Because to find the sum of an array, we need to traverse the whole array. Similarly, to find the minimum element in an array or maximum element in an array, we need to traverse the whole array. So the time complexity for these operations, sum, min, max in an array, is clearly theta n. Not only this, for example, worst case also. Suppose there is an algorithm, for example, the quicksort algorithm. It has n log n time in the best case, n log n order of growth of time in best case, and n square order of growth in the worst case. A good way to represent its time complexity is worst case time complexity of quicksort is theta n square. Best case time complexity of quicksort is theta n log n, right? And if you want to represent time complexity in one line, then you can say time complexity of quicksort is big O of n square, right? But this theta notation gives you more information. It tells you the exact bound, that in worst case, it's going to be n square. The exact order of growth is n square. And in average case, the order of growth is going to be n log n. So a good way, more informative way to represent the time complexity of quicksort is worst case time complexity of quicksort is theta n square. Because we know the exact order of growth in worst case. And average case time complexity of quicksort is n log n, or best case time complexity of quicksort is n log n. Last point about theta notation. Theta means exact order of growth. So when you say theta n square, it covers all those functions whose highest order term are n square. So n square by 4 is fine because you can ignore the leading term constant and there are no lower order terms. So all these are fine because you can always ignore the leading order constants. You can ignore 4, ignore 2, ignore this 2. 2n square plus 1010 is also fine because you can ignore the lower order terms. You ignore the constant, you get the order of growth as n square. Similarly here, you can ignore the lower order terms. You can ignore the constant and you get the order of growth as n square. So all of these things have the order of growth n square and they are covered in theta n square. But we cannot put any other function whose leading term is not n square, right? Order of growth of that function has to be n square. The value of that function is theta n square.